Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely no time to waste right here, right now. We're going to take a look at MayBe looking to try and fight off what has been probably one of the better UK sides at the moment. Eco on a good run of form currently, beating teams such as ITB, and seeing that one pin has gone down, it definitely has opened the door for this Eco side to potentially continue to cop little wins. They did have themselves a win over Toxic World today, and that nade will force Nosky Bob into the fight, straight into Extinct Bullets. Torek to take his own teammate down and look to try and deal with the consequences of this 4v3 situation. That bomb going down. Eco to... oh, a beautiful shot there from Savage. A beautiful tap with that USPS. Space, potential for him to try and tap away here. That kit all the way through that short area. Space good enough for two, however. Being hunted down by Tadpole. Space will be able to find that final frag. And he'll be able to get that 10-second defusal coming through as MayBe to pick up the pistol off the back of a 3K from Space. And a great, brilliant start here from MayBe. So what a way to open this game. We are going to continue to slowly have a look at this Eco side. Coming off what was an ESCA game that did take ages. Half an hour late, but you know, I'm happy they're here now. It's like when you've got family rocking up late to Sunday dinner. Sunday lunch, Sunday dinner. You know? It sort of just works out. Yeah. We are going to see MayBe now stuck here in this 5v3 situation. They did win the 5v3 in the pistol. And this presence here from Torek is going to be so crucial. He pretty much books Eco in a one-way trip towards this A side, towards Rage, so towards Space. Pretty much leaving the duo to fend for themselves. The Molotov to burn Rage. Then we are going to see Giraffe get up on top of these side boxes. Good enough to find himself two, upgrading towards that M4A1S. And now, with Giraffe finding two, Torek needs 5 for the round to win. Good enough to be able to find himself an early frag. Potential for the second to come through, however. Ducking and diving out of cover. We're going to see Torek good enough for a second. Can't find the third, though, Artist to come around from behind and finish the job. As we see Eco, my apologies, able to pick themselves up their first round, and more importantly, the second round coming through, and this big opportunity now upon this T side, able to keep a few rifles in the server. Continuing in the fight to stay alive here. So we are going to see Eco's coach coming in rather late. So the timeout being called to allow for Eco's coach to head into the server. We are going to continue to see what has continued to be a very, very sort of exciting time coming through for both of these rosters. Eco having themselves a win today. Not quite sure about the end result in that ESCA game. I can check. However, if memory serves me correct, it was a win. I can check. I will check. Because I do have to. And I've got time to kill. I definitely have time to kill, chat. So we are going to see the game continue to get underway. It was a win against Beyond Possible, a 13-16 win. As we do get ourselves underway here in the server. There we go. We see Biscu down the bottom. Hello, Mr. Biscu. Hello. So we are going to see Eco continuing to try and find a really important round this one. Especially looking at the T side on Dust 2. You know, so much can go wrong, especially if we see MayBe being able to find, you know, the first 2 frags here. If we see trade frags coming through, for Rico on MayBe's aggressive pushes, and we see the entries continuing to dominate and be able to find frags. We're not going to see Rage so good enough for one. Potential for the second. Tadpole to help carry some of the load here on the site. Savage tagged up quite heavily. Rage up. Dropped quite low because of that nade. Noski Bob to join him and eventually hits 0. We are going to see Rage so eventually going down. Giraffe to find that frag through the wall. Savage now left by his lonesome here in the 1v2. Definitely a winnable situation with that AK-47, however, backing away, looking to try and save it. And can you blame the young kid? So we do start to see Savage saving the Kalashnikov. We are going to see Eco now looking to try and keep these M4s of their own here in the server. Does Eco take the lead quite early on here? Now a little bit of mid-aggression to be shown here from MayBe. The hero AK of Savage to be really aggressive, and I really do enjoy this. We're going to see him unable to find anything. Razor to potentially go for the knife and will. Such a big frag, especially with the money that does come through from the knife. Now we're going to see him able to double up, eventually burning in the flames, and will hit the deck. Spaze to hide himself in this cubby corner. Should recover a rifle and definitely will look to try and have his say here in this round. Giraffe to get aggressive through that mid area. Spaze to potentially join in the party. Giraffe to find the frag. Eco to pick themselves up a third. But Rager with that knife all of a sudden giving enough funds and enough money, enough cash to get an AWP in the server, and that's what he invests in near immediately. A ballsy play. Comes off with a big reward here. A big reward coming through from MayBe. The AWP to have its say through that mid area of the map. The push from Torek to slowly back away. As yet again, it is looking as if it is going to be a long hit coming through. Consider utility up on shore. Torek to spray through that smoke. Got enough for one. Down to 5 points of health, however. The nades continuing to do damage. Torek will find Extinct just wildly spraying through that smoke. Is Torek good enough for a third? Oh, this has been a huge shutdown of this long area of the map by Torek. That bomb hits the deck. We are going to see Giraffe stuck on this B side. Torek good enough for 4. A huge shutdown coming through from the MayBe rifle up. As we do continue to see quite a early and quite contested matchup here early on. The AWP to be unable to connect. We are going to see Tadpole good enough to find himself one. Noski Bob eventually will be traded through that pit hole. The fact he was able to get a frag in that situation. A really big achievement. This car presence being shown. Artist to find that frag. Artist to continue his display of near-AWPing brilliance. Smokes to go down. There's now Rager to be stuck here in this 4v2 situation. The lead man with the AWP. The economic decision is to save. Smokes to go down. Flashes to ensure the exit. As Rage set to continue his fight. Will be good enough for one. We are going to see Gizmy drop that AWP out of the server. Artist to find space to ensure the AWP isn't going to be recovered anytime soon, as we will see Eco able to pick themselves up round number 4. They've had themselves an amazing start so far. Just continuing to see a big build up here in the server as Rage is able to find himself an early frag with the AWP. We are going to see IGL and AWP, but Artists go down quite early. Nosky Bob, Spaze, and Torek to all join in this party. Able to continue to find frags. So we will see MayBe able to pick themselves up a third off that B push. It looks as if it is just business as usual here for MayBe. Continuing to find frags, continuing to just be menaces in the server, essentially. There's not much else they can do apart from that. I'm going to see range so good enough for one. Potential for MayBe to continue the fight here as the AWP does ring out for this MayBe side. Savage good enough for 2. Can't find himself the third though. That nade going in will clear that M4A1S out of the area. The Molotov to keep Artist and Extinct trapped, hunting for that rifle. We will see smokes go down. I'm going to see Nosky Bob trying to play around it. Will eventually fall to the skipper Artist. Torek to be very, very mindful around this mid area. So we are going to see range up. Continuing to find frags with this AWP. He's found himself 8 so far. Does see Artist dropping over towards that CT area of the map, however. Spaze to find that trade onto Torek. MayBe to tie this game back up quite early on, a 4-4 scoreline coming through. Yes, we will have a big presence here. Nosky Bob, Torek, and Rage Up have found themselves with a lot of impact early on here in this game. The question is, who's going to continue to stand to be that big impactful guy in the server? Who's going to be the one that we see MayBe continue to turn to in times of when they get under pressured, in times of when, you know, we do see Eco mount these big string of rounds together that we do see them infamously do time and time again. We are going to see Gizmy and Artist fall. Torek, Spaze to be rewarded with frags and a little bit of extra cash. What I think interesting as well here for MayBe is that we're seeing a really standoff approach coming through for this MayBe side, you know, especially Eco here on the pistols. I'm going to see Tadpole tagged up quite a fair bit. We'll continue with that Glock in burst mode, switching and changing and changing and switching between burst fire and single fire. However, MayBe able to find themselves 5 frags. Sorry, 5 rounds, my apologies. 5 frags, 5 rounds, yeah, they did the same thing, same job. When you think about it, you do need 5 rounds, and we are going to continue to see Eco towards this long area of the map, continuing to take the brawl, and I think especially when we see teams who aren't down for the brawl and teams who really enjoy getting into the tussle, like Echo, you know, we've seen one pin previously be really up and about around getting into that brawl, getting into those brawls. You know, it does just continue to add that little bit of pressure there towards those CT-sided players. We are going to see Nosky Bob spraying through that smoke. Able to find Gizmy. There's now Echo to echo some positive sentiment coming through. I can see Giraffe able to find that frag on the Spay. Is able to get himself a bomb plant as a little reward. So we now start to see this post-plant situation come through. Artists to try and hold this unders area of the map. Not an easy task by any means of the imagination. However, good enough to find himself too. Tadpole to help out elsewhere in the map. And now just continuing to see the amount of damage that is coming in for this MayBe side. Ranger to be recovering the AWP. However, keeping a rifle to ensure it's secure possession at the very, very end of the round. As Rage to recover the AWP, looking to keep it as his new best friend. He's Wilson. If you've ever seen the movie. Oh, what's the movie? The movie with Tom Hanks. Castaway. That's the one. You ever seen the movie Castaway? We are going to see that AWP for Rage become his Wilson. You know, the little volleyball. Biscuit to call a timeout here for Eco, as we do see MayBe continuing this back and forth, and I think especially if you are MayBe at the moment, looking to continue to put the screws towards this Eco side and continuing to get so much pressure in the server. Continuing to be a little bit of a menace, a little bit of a pest at times with this CT area of the map. We've seen Nosky Bob already continuing to fulfill that role, finding himself a few frags coming through smokes over on that long control. This Rages are to head away. Oh, that's a bit of a cheeky pop flash. I've never seen that before. Torek here through this smoke. Oh, beautiful, beautiful patience there from Torek. We are going to see him find that knife frag. MayBe looking to try and build up some economic presence, some economic sort of pressure here in the server. Tadpole, Giraffe to deal with the Savage frag. However, a lot of damage being done to Giraffe. He's on 2 points of health. A slight wind could blow the poor lad over. Now Gizmy to start to throw a little bit of utility out, allowing a little bit of this extended pressure coming through. Torek good enough for Giraffe. Tadpole able to find that trade. Torek, a beautiful headshot here to keep calm in the server where there is so much chaos, as we see Torek just continuing to be that stamp of authority. Good enough for 4. It all started with a single blade. That bayonet, sorry, my apologies. About to name the skin and then realized that I just had a brain. Can I try? I'm gonna try that again. I was gonna say the skin and then I realized I just had a brain fade. That's okay. So we are gonna continue to see Gizmy, Tadpole tagged up. Tadpole actually good enough for a frag with that AWP being recovered. Extinct to find himself a frag with the Deagle. Now, more importantly, it is looking as if it is going to be a challenge here for MayBe here on the retake. This B site, notoriously difficult to retake from. This Nosky Bob ramp is going to be a huge part of that up. Definitely. We are going to see the AWP of Tadpole will be found. Space to help out with a little bit of the damage. Smokes to go through here. So we are going to see Extinct burning down to 16 points of health. Savage to find himself a frag. Savage to double up. Rager gives me now in the 1v1 situation as Rager to get that AWP and look to head off in towards safety. The bomb does go off, and now a 6-6 scoreline. Very, very back and forth matchup between these two. These two teams. As we do continue to see what has been quite an exciting start here. For MayBe, for Eco. I'm going to see Artist. Will be tagged up quite heavily through that top mid area of the map. Will have himself a little bit of a passive sort of presence coming through. And I'm going to see Smoke's utilities to come out. As we will see Nosky Bob find a few frags with that Deagle, spraying through that smoke where he's been so crucial. That Molotov could potentially ruin his night, however, just too close to the smoke. Speaking of smoke, that bomb planted. We're seeing MayBe being pretty passive here, looking like they don't want the smoke. Extinct's good enough for one. Extinct can't find himself that second. Tadpole and Artist now to be left in dire situations. As Savage in the 1v2 able to clutch up. We will see MayBe able to pick themselves up round number 7 off the ace of Savage, who just continued to find frags, continued to be patient. So we do see MayBe continuing what has been a really good game so far for the side. Start to see some long control coming through. Giraffe, Eco gives me the whole gang, all 6 of them. Disco as well in there. Definitely looking towards that B side. Artist to get one back with the knife frag, however being very, very quickly traded. As we head into round 15 here, MayBe almost looking to try and put 9 on the board, and I think especially for MayBe getting 9 on the board probably should have been the goal from the start. Artist to invest in an AK with armor. His teammates, however, not so fortunate. So we are going to see Savage able to find Giraffe quite early on. A long take coming through here for Eco. Nosky Bob has had himself an amazing hold through that long area of the map. Will be good enough for 2 Molotovs. And that's all the utility coming through. Torek actually able to find 2. Is now MayBe to eventually get themselves 9 rounds in the first half. And a really, really good first half coming through from both of these sides. It was very, very back and forth at points, and you know, it felt like that we could definitely see both of these sides continue to go back and forth all night long. However, we do see MayBe able to take out the half, continuing what has been a little bit more of a CT-sided lean over towards this Dust 2 map. As we slowly have a bit of a break before we do get ourselves underway in this second half. Back underway here for the second half, ladies and gentlemen. As MayBe looking to have themselves a little bit of an A-long brawl coming through. It is going to be all down to Tadpole to deal with the threat. As now A big test of strength to be shown here from Tadpole. Has to be that anchor who stays alive. Are we going to see Tadpole grow up to be a frog? Nope, he actually just throws a nade at his own teammate. To be fair, he was body blocked. I will give him that. So we are going to see Tyrick able to find himself quite an early frag now. Tadpole going down gives me to start trying to fill in that role of anchor. Continuing to try and tap away, eventually chased down, found by the Glock. We are going to see Nosky Bob good enough for 2 on the entry, the bomb to go down. A minute left to play. That bomb going down anyway. Giraffe good enough for 2. Torek hitting the deck. Savage to join him. This 1v2 situation now underway in the server. We are going to see Nosky Bob almost being left in this 1v1 situation. Giraffe has himself 3. He's got 10 seconds. He's going to stick it. We are going to see Nosky Bob. Okay, restore order from what was a really good start there from that MayBe side here in that pistol round. Giraffe. No smoke, no kit. It almost seemed to be an impossible task. But order restored, after all, as the CSGO world had a little bit of a sigh. Because if that happens, then who knows what happens afterwards. See all these people in pugs. Everyone in my face of pugs doing these 10-second no smoke defusals. Trying to bait out the other person. So we see maybe very, very quick resolve here in that second round. After the pistol bite. Just all of a sudden getting their frags done. Eco to just rush mid with pistols. Nothing too notable in the round apart from Artist continuing to be a really brave caller. You know, brave calls being called out by that IGL for this Eco side. Continuing to see a lot of presence coming through. So we are seeing a little bit of a default spread coming through. Eco almost challenged to try and get a little bit of information themselves. Of course, it looks like we aren't going to see much in terms of maybe giving any away. Single flash through mid is all we see. A brave Molotov to clear out that angle there. Now gives me to be aware of the presence in bedroom. Bedroom pop to be the hit. Flashes over the top. Gives me holding this close blue box angle. Nosky Bob studying the demos. He knows that he usually sits about there. Nosky Bob in the entry. Will be able to find himself a second. Extinct to try and reproduce the Nosky Bob special. And that's spraying through the smoke. Able to find himself a 4K. Extinct to be completely blind. Nosky Bob good enough to find himself another 2. So low, but just continuing to take on fights. He's found himself 4 so far. Does tag up his teammate accidentally. We will see Giraffe, the last man standing here for Eco. Eventually going down as MayBe do pick themselves up 12. We are going to have a little bit of a look in here. The pistols coming in for Echo. A lot of nade damage on the Giraffe early on as he tries to be in a little bit of a cheeky position. What is looking like B will be the hit to come through. Spays now. Almost waiting for that push up bottom mid. The long presence contained here by MayBe. I think what's especially important is seeing that push coming through from Giraffe Torek to be able to respond quite early, quite quickly. We are going to see Extinct spotted. We'll be tagged up quite heavily by that nade. Savage to find that frag. A little bit of a mid presence coming through. Space to be able to find Artist. We are going to see Rage continue to find this B side here. Does find the second. Does assume this B side's clear. Gizmy with the deagle. Rewarded with a frag. And all of a sudden this bomb heading straight towards this A side. You'd assume. You'd imagine. You'd hope so. But it doesn't even get there. Space to find Gizmy. Says, give me my AK back. I want that. I want that AK. Give it back. So now we see MayBe able to pick themselves up 13. Eco 2. Eco unable to have a response in this half. As now we see Nosky Bob tagged up a little bit by those flames. Gizmy holding this lowest area of the map. Savage will find the frag. A push coming through from Artist through this top mid area of the map. A triple AWP setup coming through. Rage up. Oh, he's looking for the lineup. I was like, what kind of wallbang is this? I got very scared there. I'm like, oh no, is Razor lining up a wallbang that I've never seen before and he's just looking in the sky? I got very, very concerned, but that's okay. A little bit of Franz J shenanigans going on in the server, of course. It's not on nuke, so it doesn't really count, if you know what I mean. 4 scopes, of course. You gotta rock with 4 scopes. There's actually 5 scopes in the server, technically. Four v 3 situation. Yet 8 guns here in the server. Because I'm a weapon, mate. I love that joke. It always bombs. So now we're gonna see MayBe look towards a lot of this short control here. It is going to be Artist. He does need to stay alive here. If he does fall all of a sudden, there's been so much control given up. The AWP falling. Rager to be able to find himself a second. All of a sudden, this mid area of the map just continuing to crumble under the pressure of MayBe. Tadpole to rock with the AGG. We'll be able to find that frag. The bomb to go down. Now Eco to focus on this retake in the 2v2 situation. Tadpole will fall. Now Extinct stuck here in this 1v2 with the AWP. Good enough for one. The pistol to find the second and Extinct. How about that for a 1v2 clutch? MayBe going down after a catastrophe in that mid-hold. We see Extinct able to save this day here. As Eco able to pick up their first round here in this second half. The CT side finally getting going. Finally leaving the station. As they pick themselves up 7. So Extinct able to get an early frag. Nosky Bob good enough to find himself 2, however, on that long take. Gizmy to hold himself around car. Of course, Gizmy, car. See Nosky Bob good enough to find himself yet another frag. Another 3k. We're just seeing a whole heap of multi-kills in the server from MayBe at the moment. It's almost as if they've just come here to farm, really. Eco, a big day for them so far. Obviously worn out, fatigued, tired. Get a thesaurus, look up any word for tired. You'll just see. You'll probably see Eco at this point. Tadpole completely blind, will go down. MayBe to pick themselves up 14. Eco unable to get a string of rounds together here in this game so far. They've just really been limited in the amount of control they do have in this server, and it's slowly spiraling. That's an interesting molly from Giraffe. However, maybe to definitely take a look at this brawl coming through this long area of the map. As the Deagle push coming through Artist to be so aggressive in this tons area of the map. We'll be able to call it clear. So this A-hold expecting the worst. Utility to go out. Flashes. Molotovs. Smokes. HEs. There's got to be a kitchen sink in there somewhere where it's all looking to just be prepared to be thrown. An Xbox smoke to be thrown out here. Rage to find himself the first frag. The scout going down. We are going to see a boost over that smoke coming through. Extinct to be tagged. Giraffe eventually falling to Nosky Bob. Artist good enough for a frag. Artist needs to hold strong here. Doesn't. Nosky Bob continuing to find frags. He's got himself yet another 3K in this game. One of the best individual performances we've seen from a player in a long time. Nosky Bob continuing to have himself an absolute day. We saw early on Nosky Bob. We saw early on Rage Up. Did Eco just not veto for this game? Well, both teams rocked up half an hour late. Mr. Gistore. Both teams rocked up half an hour late, so I'm pretty sure they didn't have time for a veto. Because the admins were panicking. I can confirm that. Now I'm going to see gives me good enough for one. Space. To find himself a trade. Ranger going down as the Battle of the Orbs continues here in the server. A 2v2 situation. The bomb to slowly make its way through this mid area of the map. We are going to see Giraffe able to find a frag with a minute left to play. It is going to be down to Torek and the AWP. As Torek, the potential for him to win this game. Stripped away as Artist to find the frag. So we'll see Eco picking themselves up round number 8. Their second hit of this second half. Celebration's definitely in order. We continue to start seeing some pressure here. Maybe with Savage good enough for one. Nosky Bob to be able to find himself a second. We are going to see a bug coming through with GeoTV. I think especially everyone who has been around Counter-Strike long enough knows exactly what this could mean. We are going to see Tadpole Extinct here looking to try and fight the odds of Go TV. There's Nosky Bob with the edge of that smoke trying to find frags. That smoke fading. Now with the 2v2 situation. Nosky Bob to find Tadpole. 2v3 now left in a 1v3. Extinct. A lot of work to do for this young lad. Needs to find himself the first and will. All of a sudden Extinct has a winnable situation here. 40 seconds. He's convinced that they've headed over towards this B site. The timing impeccable. There's Extinct. Not caught out just yet. Instead, lives to fight another day. Ducking in towards this mid area of the map. Torek to get that bomb down. As Extinct now in the 1v2 situation, waiting for those flames to dissipate. The smoke going through. He's going to push it anyway. Doesn't care. Can't find Torek instead. MayBe. To find themselves the final frag. Torek continuing to be a menace. Nosky Bob 29 frags. Savage having himself a really, really handy 21. But ladies and gentlemen, an absolute pleasure to join you all tonight. I've got to go head off. But yeah, disappointing showing from Eco. Probably not comfortable on this map. Yep. Obviously the picks, instabans. Yes. that does make a little bit more sense. You guys did look really, really uncomfy. I'm not gonna lie. But speaking of comfortable, I mean, what you can look at some comfortable clips. Some of the best from SCL. I've been your caster Flamboyant. Hope you guys have a safe, happy night wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you guys probably tomorrow for some more Counter-Strike action. Peace.